All right. So today we have the topic of the case for support. And that is, it's such an important piece of conveying your message. And whether you have one and it's a little stale, or you just don't have one because you've never gotten around to it, we hear this constantly. And Danny and I, we like to double down on the things that we hear are problems for people, because we're all about the solutions. How do we figure out the solutions? How can we make this easier for everyone? And the typical path, I mean, Danny, what would it look like to get a case for support prepared? I mean, what's the typical journey of a nonprofit?
I'd say there's a pre-AI world and a post-AI world when it comes to this, right? So it really comes down to kind of data collection, analyzing that data, and then converting that data into a usable form that we can then use it to communicate with our stakeholders, our donors, our grantors, and things like that. And so if I think back to before AI, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks of data gathering in terms of finding financials, understanding the organization's website, interviews, interviewing both stakeholders, board members, donors, anybody really that has a connection to the organization. But really what it came down to was having an individual or a group of individuals learning about an organization to be able to kind of digest all that, analyze it, and then be the creative side of things, right? So a very much more manual, very much more tedious, very much more time consuming was that kind of process.
And then having a writer, right? Then you need someone to trust who's at the grant writer level, who's a sophisticated writer, who's going to take all of that and put it into something that you can use then and design and have in a beautiful format.
And a designer, graphic designer.
And a graphic designer.
Add the pictures and colors and kind of help you with that. And then maybe different variations for different audiences, right?
Exactly.
And so you need a writer that's maybe a better a funder writer versus a donor or an individual or a corporate writer, and things like that change all the time, right? So I think the key word is it's human versatility was what needed, right? A good group of people and a team around you that could understand how to do that, had the experience to do it. And I think AI has changed that in many ways.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Because also, let's think about the cost. I would say at least a couple $1,000, at least.
Yeah.
To get the writer. We used to do these at Kannico. This was one of our services, and it was very time consuming and very laborious because we were so concerned with delivering a product that was high level. Yep. So the reason that the case for support is so critical and why we wanted to focus on this today is it's the tool that you can use for so many other things. It is the guiding document. It's like the guiding principles of your organization. Your board members can use it. Your grant writer can use it. You can use it for corporate sponsor material and information.
I thought you were going to say your grandmother could use it. And I was like, yes, your grandmother
can use it. Your social media person, your marketing person. The versatility of this one document, which, by the way, the meat and potatoes of it is what matters the most, because that's what you can change around, you can convert, you can transform it into something that's going to a corporate sponsor, individual donor, could be a particular proposal. So let's talk then a little bit more about what it takes. I mean, Danny, you're leading the charge on this.
Yeah, you know what I'd love to do is I'd love to make this as collaborative and communicative as possible. I'd love to hear if anyone here has done a case for support, what your experience has been. What do you have now and how are you using it? We learn a lot from real world examples, and we could go on this. So if anyone has one, Lynn at Scholar, maybe do you have one? I'm gonna pick on people.
You're one of those professors, huh, who just love picking on people. I love it.
It's lunch and learn, people. So we're gonna learn from each other, from peer learning.
Full transparency, I think this is the first time where I'm hearing this word like in a different way. So and I'm still trying to grasp, is it what I'm already doing? It is just a different verbiage in terms of just kind of ways we communicate with our stakeholders. So I gather that from you, but then I'm still trying to kind of put the pieces together if it's something different. So when when I saw the invitation, I was like, so I so I just want to, I'm still trying to figure out in terms
Okay.
of what the concept of the training is, and I don't want to answer and not answer the question properly.
But I think it's really important because so just for background's sake, I was a corporate banker. I spent many years at JP Morgan working specifically with nonprofit organizations. I'm part of a large foundation. I'm a philanthropist myself, and so I've dealt with thousands of nonprofits across the country, and everyone does things a little bit differently. And this is where it comes down to perhaps lack of education, or just lack of or just maybe even this resiliency factor that nonprofit founders and leaders have, which is I'm going to do whatever with whatever I have, and I'm going to make it work because it's all I have, right? So let's kind of go with it from there, right? So I appreciate your honesty in that, and I'm happy that you actually have something there, whether it's a case for support or an impact statement, or just even a folder that has all your documents in one place where you can just be like,
And
there's
we
a new,
yeah. It's just we don't call it case of support. I think that's what
So
you're.
why don't we do
what do you call
this?
it?
Yeah, what do you call it?
It all depends what I need. Do I need it for annual report? Am I reaching out and sending out a communication to is it an impact report? Is it, so I think there's those trending verbiage or impact. We have an impact. We have a capability statement as well. So
Okay.
is it all the information combined together that becomes the support, document that you're speaking of? And so I'm looking forward to just kind of see what includes in there. If it's something we have and it's called something different.
I'm gonna share. Danny, do you mind if I show a couple of
Please,
the
let's go. I
samples
think
that
it's
we
going to
have?
be perfect that we go.
This will give everyone an idea of what we're referring to. So here's one of them. This is a case for support that's been beautifully designed. It has the content. So really we're thinking about history, mission, vision, a call to action. We want to talk about the programming, the metrics, what are we accomplishing? So this would be one that's been beautifully designed and put together. I have a couple others I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some in-house ones. Here's one that was done in-house by a founder, and it's just text. Could be enhanced maybe. He's got a value proposition here. Very openly talked about the budget, what's needed. A closing statement. So really simple. This one's a 7-pager. This is when he was just getting started. We have Mentor Chicago. They have a beautifully designed one. But what we were saying before about the meat and potatoes of it, yes, you can design it beautifully. It's really the core content that's the most important, because that's what you're going to be able to repurpose. Here's another one that was designed in-house, but has the content. So history, mission, what we do, and think of this as your outward facing document. So this is really what you want to have to allow people to see what you're doing. So public facing is what we're always thinking. And what we want at the end of it is this powerful call to action. So somehow, as you work your way through the mission, the vision, who we are, what we do, our budget, we want to talk about the programming, we want to talk about the future, why we need funding and why we need support, but there's always going to be this call to action. Now, this is a great way to articulate it. A $100 gift provides 40 nutritious meals. There's nothing like quantifying what their gift is going to do, how it's going to make an impact. So let's go back to who has a case for support that's something like this. Do you want to just raise your hand?
Yeah.
So
and I'll just add the way I kind of look at it. And the way I say it is, everyone should have an elevator pitch, right? Which is this 60-second commercial. Hey, what does Scholar Career do? Hey, what does your nonprofit do, right? And you kind of can talk through it, right? And then it's like, hey, I'd love to send you some material for you to get a deeper understanding of like who we are, at our core, our history. And it's a little bit different than the website, because you give someone a link to a website, people are on the computer all day, they're online all day. They might kind of look through it and kind of pick different places. But if you send them a PDF or a brochure, or you put it on the website, it kind of has more of this aspect of a book. And like, I'm going to sit there and actually try to understand really what the organization does, what the heart and soul, and then what the ask is from the organization. And really what it kind of comes down to is really this opportunity to take that and what else can you create from it, from doing kind of all the work, right? So Kirsten, yeah, that's a great point to kind of look at and saying, what should it really have in there? And by the way, we talk about it being external, but I think it's very also important internal. Let's say you're interviewing someone for a job, right? And it's kind of like, okay, it's a program officer, it's a fundraising person, it's anything that's like, well, I want to know more about your organization. The website kind of didn't say a lot. Social media has a little bit. And you're like, here, this is exactly, that tells everything, that's going to give you a really good understanding and idea. I know organizations that actually send this case for support, case for impact to candidates before the interview, because they want to have these deeper conversations and they want to know if the candidate can actually pick up little tidbits from it and come to the interview better prepared.
Imagine you have a board member who says, I am so excited that that you've given me some great new ideas on how I can help you fundraise, how I can raise awareness, how I can spread the word in my network. I'm going to have a little gathering in my home. We're going to have a little cocktail party, little wine and cheese at my house. I've got 4 or 5 couples coming. Do you have something, Miss or Mr. Executive Director, that I can have, that I could give out, or that people could leave with? I'm not really ready to ask them for money. I just want them to learn about the organization. This is the tool. This is the tool. Or pieces of this, right? Like it doesn't even have to be a 5-page document. You could just condense this into a 1-pager with bullet points, right? So there are lots of opportunities to use this in your fundraising, in your general asks. But imagine scenarios. Imagine a donor says, "Well, I'd like to take a board member says I'd like to take a donor out to lunch. What can I give them? What can I show them?" Maybe it's someone who doesn't want to look at something on an iPad. They want to actually flip through or look at something on paper, right? So you have these real life scenarios, but then we have other scenarios. I'm going to ask everyone to mute if you don't mind, because I can't see everyone and I can't see where the noise is coming from. But Danny, you have some other ideas as well on uses for a case that we've talked about.
Yeah, Kirsten, if you're an admin, you might be able to mute everyone and just get them off one by one. It might be easier because the person consolidated.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Nope, someone's still unmuted. I'm trying. I'm working on it. Oh, here we go. Mute all. Okay, I think I've done it. Nope.
So weird, huh?
Yeah, I can't even tell where it's coming from.
Yeah. Okay. I think what we were trying to identify. So I spend a lot of time on technology. My team and I are very much AI first with whatever we do. You know, from automations to making our life more efficient and quicker. And so one of the ideas that we've been really working on here is this kind of concept of helping organizations kind of create. So before.
Oh. Whoops, sorry. Did I mute everyone? I think I did. Hold on 1 second. Let me unmute you, Danny. There we go.
Should be,
yeah. Got that.
We got it? Okay, perfect. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. What I was saying is that we, you know, in my firm and what we do in terms of helping organizations, whether we're just even giving advice or just, you know, working with an organization, a for-profit or nonprofit, you know, we look at to see how artificial intelligence, generative AI, simple tools like ChatGPT, which is now available free for everyone, to be able to take a document like a case for support that really should have the ins and outs of an organization, and then use a tool like a ChatGPT, for example, to say, hey, can you generate, you know, a couple of emails that I need for this particular donor? Can you help me write a grant, by the way, right? Here's an upload of what this particular grant questions look like. Is there enough information in my case for support for you to at least start filling out the process of things like that, right? So what we are really trying to enable is ultimate efficiency. I think that's kind of the key word that we're looking at here, is how can we help and teach and educate organizations to be as efficient as possible, considering they already have a lot of these materials, a lot of these documents, a lot of this data, a lot of this information. And with tools coming out every single day, to me, really sky's the limit in terms of what you can produce to be able to share with the world.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. So tell us then, if let's just say, for example, that Lynn has in her arsenal, she has a great tool that is a compilation, and she would consider it the case, her case for support. So what could she do with that then? Having gone through the effort of creating it, now she's got something, right? What can she do with that? How can she use it? What does she actually physically do where she can use this case for support?
I think it'd be great if we just have a one-on-one with Lynn really quick. Lynn, I'm gonna call you out on this lunch and learn, and we're gonna chat about this, right? So, like, can you tell me a little? And this is not planned, by the way. This is kind of have random happily, right? So it's not like we pre-put these questions out there. Lynn, what are you struggling with in terms of either getting grants out, or getting communications out, or getting content out? Anything that you think that you're like, geez, I wish I can just expand the universe of people knowing how amazing Scholar Career Coaching is.
I have a lot that's coming to mind, but I will shrink it down to the top two. And I think first is our marketing strategy. I think over time, there's a lot of nonprofit around here in South Florida, specifically like the Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade, and being able to have a clear message to really differentiate all the mentorship and scholarship program to really make people understand our target audience and our niche. So that's number one. And number two, I think it's most nonprofit. It's really just kind of funding. How do we really just kind of present ourselves different so that someone doesn't say, well, I'm already supporting nonprofit B and they doing the same thing that you do. And how do we come across and say, well, I understand, but this is why we are different. This is our approach. Right. And I think this is where we're struggling. It kind of go hand in hand.
Are you using any kind of AI tools right now, like ChatGPT, for this? Can you give me an example of how you're using it or what you're doing with it?
I've used it for in terms of grant writing. I mean, I don't rely on it for grant writing. I trust my writing skills better, but it has really helped in just kind of refine my approach in how I write. I think the struggle for me is the fact that I'm probably the sole person writing the grant, and I don't have someone tag teaming with me. So I don't think it's an issue with getting the message out. Is just how many people is trying to get the message out, and it's not getting out on time. And so in terms of marketing, the effort is just not there like we would want it to be.
Okay. Are you happy with the results or the information that ChatGPT is giving you? Like, do you think it understands your organization as well as you do?
Yes. I talk to ChatGPT like it's a friend.
It is a friend. It's a counselor. It's an advisor. It's a psychologist. It's a consultant.
It is. I would say, I always drive what I want them to work on. I don't say just give me this information, because I'm always under the impression it's going to give the same nonprofit the same information. So I draft my information prior, send it. This is why I'm doing this. This is what I'm looking to, the call to action or the end goal is. And I love to say, no, I don't like it. Let's try again. Maybe do this, maybe do that. I used to work, I was using Paragraph AI for a while, but I noticed there's a big difference with ChatGPT. So it's slowly becoming my best friend, but there are certain keywords that I notice that they use a lot. So when they do, I say, we move that, because you can tell it's ChatGPT right away. So
I love it. Yeah. So first of all, congratulations, because I'd probably say you're on the smaller percentage of people in the nonprofit space that are actually taking advantage of ChatGPT to that level. And so congratulations. I'm proud of you, because it's just something that I really believe that the AI and the technology is at the place now where we really should be kind of raising the bar to what nonprofits can accomplish, right? And so there's this concept in generative AI and ChatGPT or whatever model you use, which is called GIGO, which is garbage in, garbage out. And basically that means, if I just tell it, hey, do this for me, you're going to get a, hey, here's what you wanted. But it doesn't really understand who you are as an executive director, what the organization is about, some of the good things or the bad things. And so now with ChatGPT 4 Omni being free, one of the best features that it has is the ability to attach documents to it. And people don't really do it a lot, which is I'm going to attach this document up to you, and I'm going to ask you questions on the document, or you're going to use that document as a placeholder and a starting point for generating and customizing and developing other content, right? And so the way we've been looking at this is if you can combine, how many years has Scholar been around?
10. I think you froze. Is it me?
Oh, he did freeze. 10
Uh,
years. Well, while he's frozen and thinking your answer, I'm going to show you a layout of a sample case for support. Now, this is a very basic one, but I want you all to know that you're going to have a copy of this tool that you can use to create your own case for support. So this is an outline that I use as a guideline. And we start with the mission statement. What problem are you trying to address? How many people are affected by this problem? So this is a way of extracting from what you know and what your organization does in a way that you can compile it and use it then to create your case for support. How many people, animals, you have to quantify something, are affected by this problem in the area that you serve. Describe your organization's history. And by the way, for anyone who isn't using the dictation function in Word these days, please make your life easier and just dictate into Word. It will change your life, I promise you. What success has your organization had in addressing this problem? So we're establishing credibility here, right? We want trust, we want credibility. What success stories can you tell about the people that you've helped, about the animals that about the changes that you've made? There comes Daniel again. How is the organization uniquely positioned to successfully address the problem? What need are you raising money for? So forget about the order right now, right? We're just thinking, let's extract these facts. And by the way, you should probably do this every so often because things change and we forget about the successes that we've had. What is the fundraising goal for this need? Really, really important. I always tell people, narrow this down to a fundraising goal. Super important. People need to know how much money you're trying to raise. In their minds, if they think you're trying to raise $25,000, giving you $1,000 is a really big gift. If you're raising $2 million, they're now thinking, oh, it better be 20,000 or 25,000 because otherwise it's not even going to make an impact. So again, make sure you don't sell yourself short. Okay, so you must focus on a hard goal that you can then break down into what does it cost to change one life or provide one unit of service or provide something that you can quantify and break down so people feel an impact, just like I showed you about, $100 helps this many families. Okay, how does the donor's gift make a difference and affect the need? What is this going to do? What is the donor's gift going to actually do? And what makes the need urgent? Why is this so critical right now? Why do we have to do this right now? So not only is this something that you should work on yourselves, and again, I'm going to make this resource available to you. I also have a grid, an outline. I think I saw a message from Daniel saying that he lost power. Are you back, Daniel? Danny? Yeah, Don lost power. Okay. So, it's important that you, as probably the person closest or one of the people closest, gathers this information, collects it, and organizes it. But we also, Danny mentioned this, we want stakeholder information too. How about your founder? How about your board members, former board members? What about people who are recipients of your services? That's how we gather testimonials, we gather great content. So put together a short little form, a survey that you can send out maybe in Google Forms, and ask these questions. I mean, one thing is interview them. Honestly, that's what I used to do. If someone hired us as a company to write their case for support, I would conduct interviews of 10 to 15 people, including board members, stakeholders. Maybe you have community partners that you've worked with that would be great people to give you some input on the value of the organization and what it's doing, even through a different lens, right? So think about that, but it used to be in the form of interviews. I think I just did 2 strategic planning sessions, and I used to interview stakeholders for those 2. I sent them a form instead this time, gave them the flexibility to just answer it when they could, and I got everybody's responses, as opposed to getting crazy trying to schedule interviews and calls with people. But if you have a close relationship with your stakeholders, absolutely get on the phone with them and ask them some of these questions. If not, a Google form is fine. But it is important to get outside perspective as well as you're crafting this and putting this together. I have a couple more. Would you like to see a few more of these cases for support to just kind of get an idea of what some of these other ones look like? I have a whole bank of them. Give me 1 second. Whoops. 1 second. Do we have any questions? Do you mind putting in the chat if you have currently a case for, like, if I were a donor and I wanted to give to your organization, do you have a case for support right now that you could just email to me? Who has something like that that's in that state of readiness? I'd be curious to know. You'll be creating one. Okay, good, Lakeisha. That's great. Excellent. I want you to be creating one. That's great.
We have a social impact document that somewhat highlight most of the items that you mentioned, with the goal of more of partnering with them one way or the other, but it wouldn't be something we give to a board member to recruit them or a potential board member to recruit them, but it would be, hey, can you send us information about Scholar CC outside of our report cards, brochure? That's probably one of the document we would send.
Okay.
But now that the more I think about this, I think we definitely need a case for support, because we have a program sponsorship, which is for something else as well, but we don't have that. We don't.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the great thing too is you have the content, you can just put it right into Canva and design it. And now you've got, your beautiful case for support. I mean, there are just so many ways that you can leverage the tools we have available to us these days that are either free or practically free. So here's Habitat for Humanity International case for support. Again, very
Hola, Miguel.
I'm gonna mute. Sorry, oops. Sorry, Sarah, I was just trying to mute you. It might say asking you to unmute, but I was just trying to mute you. Okay, so the problem, the need for housing. I think of course the value here, or maybe the distinguishing factor here for Habitat for Humanity is the fact that they're so well known, right? So they can do just bullet points. Maybe if it's an organization that's not quite as well known, you might have to give a little more context and a little more history. I'm sorry, this is small. I'm trying to see if I can, there we go, a little bit bigger. Okay, Habitat is uniquely suited. So this is a good thing. Why are we uniquely suited to address this problem? You could copy that verbatim and just substitute your organization's name. Why are we uniquely suited? I just got off a client call actually, and they were saying, we were talking to someone yesterday and they're about to become a major corporate sponsor, but they kept saying, but why are you different? But why are you different? But what makes you different? And so I sat with them and we teased out, because I said, well, why are you different? Well, we're the only ones who provide this kind of training. Okay, why is that special? Well, because we're really qualified and provide. Okay, why is that special? If you go down to the whys, right? Like they say, ask the why 7 times and you'll get to the root of it. If you do the why enough, you'll get to the heartstrings. You'll get to the whole reason that donors are going to want to support you. And that's what we're doing. So why are you uniquely suited? Each one of you is with an organization that is doing something that is unique. Why are you uniquely suited to address this problem? They've done a beautiful job of capturing that here, and look at those hands. Feel the impact. And here's the other thing I want to mention. Look how nicely they've bolded parts of this. Whoops, right? So it stands out. We've got the facts: over 100 homes, 2.4 million people, 3,500 emergency shelter kits. They've given some nice little case studies. Now they're going to talk about the results, the projects. What are kinds of projects? Now I like this too. I like the way they've set out the projects, and they've separated them really clearly so you can understand what are the focus areas. What's their model? Talk about their model, how they've mobilized more than 700,000 volunteers. If you are a heavily based volunteer organization, you should be including the power of your volunteers in your case for support. There is no doubt about that. You absolutely must. You are underselling yourself if you do not include those volunteers in the work. Think about the man hours. I mean, they could put the man hours in here too. The hours, the human hours. We'll call it human hours. Okay, they talk a little bit about being built on a foundation of faith. Great. They talk about their geographic reach, and that's all. I mean, geographic reach, it may be in your town. There are 3 locations. That's your geographic reach. That's fine too. Individuals served. They've got their financials. I'm a fan of putting financials. If not the current or past financials, you could consider putting a budget. You could do a forecast. That also gives people a good idea of what's needed to be raised. Talk about their, so here we go, help us today, right? Now we're down to there's the call to action, help us today. But this is powerful. I have another one. Another one I'm going to show you that's kind of interesting. It's a little different. It's not a case for support. It's what they would call they call it a project list. And I have permission from them to show this. So I'm going to show you this very interesting way of presenting a project list, which is a little bit of a deviation on a case for support. So it's Child Rescue Coalition in South Florida. And these are their projects. So they had so many people asking, I don't understand what your projects are. I can't see them. I don't understand. I can't get my mind around them. So what they did was they just put together their projects and what it was going to cost. So here's the problem. Here's the solution. This is the project. This is how much it costs. The knowledge project. Here's the problem. Here's the solution. This is how much it costs. Sorry, I'm trying to expand on this a little bit again, but I can't seem to get it any larger. There we go. Increasing coverage. There's the problem. There's the solution. Now, this is a side note, but I wanted to show it to you because I think it's important for us to know that we're not locked into anything. You do not have to do a case for support. You don't have to call it a case for support. You can call it what Danny calls it, which is a case for impact. So you can call it anything you like. I think you mentioned that too, Lynn, through your impact report, right? Or your impact statement. You could call it a case for impact, but just keep in mind that once you have that core material, you can do anything you want with it, and you can call it anything you want. Danny, I was showing some more live examples, and we looked at Habitat for Humanity, which was a very, very compelling, The
website version?
The website version of well, I have it as a PDF, but yes, of the international one, which was really incredible. And then I have one more that I was going to show. But we lost you right as we were talking to Lynn, I think.
Yeah, apparently the power of this group was just so overwhelming that it just kind of just collapsed the whole internet where I am right now. So
yeah, the internet.
that's how amazing you all are. So let me go back to what I was kind of making the point at. My point was that, the better the quality of the information that we're trying to upload and have the ChatGPT resonate with and connect with and analyze, the better the results are going to be. And so in the work that we've been doing right now, before a final case for support has been built, the team has been able to maybe gather, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 different documents from, I mean, if you think about it right now, the technology exists where you can go out there and actually, collect your annual reports, collect your 990s, a lot of great information, a lot of great data, individual pages from your website. You can actually find a way to get your posts from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you are, and really kind of come up with a really big brain of information. And from that, maybe you get a 20, 30-page document. That's not the final piece of support, but it's literally, for lack of a better word, like the Bible or the Wikipedia or like the encyclopedia, just kind of houses everything of what you are. When you can take a document like that and upload it to a ChatGPT, to a Claude, to very easy to use generative AI tools, and begin to ask it questions, right? And so, like Lynn, in your example, I think both of the comments, both of the questions you had were about, how do I stand out, right? Like, we do all this absolute work with what we're doing, but how do I get people to really recognize me, acknowledge me, see where we're different? And so what I would do is I would say, okay, ChatGPT, like, this is us. This is Scholar Career Coaching. Like, this is everything you know about us. Can you go on the internet and find 4 or 5 other organizations in Palm Beach County and Broward and South Florida that do something different? What makes them stand out? What makes them unique? What makes them different from me, right? And then kind of understand who they are. Because when ChatGPT understands who they are, and you're going to tell them, now you know everything about me, about our organization, make us stand out, right? Give me ideas, give me tools, give me content that you can create. And so the better the information that comes in, the much better information that comes out. And I think that's where you really kind of want to be and take advantage of the use of these case for supports, to become like the building block, like the trunk of a tree of which branches of content, branches of ideas, branches of potential impact can actually be generated from there and be fruitful for you.
Agreed. I want to hit a couple of these questions. I did answer them in the chat, but I know some of the folks may have hopped off. So let's see, we've been using an impact report or program specific report, depending on the request. I love that. That's great. Terms of style, is it more compelling to use more text, more images, more infographics, or a fair combination? I'd say a combination. Let's think about the boredom factor, right? If somebody's looking through something, you kind of want to, we're also visual. I know video is a big thing. I mean, you could even do a video case for support. I've seen that done as well. But I would say a combination. Try and keep it interesting.
And I think the audience matters, right? So for those
and
working
the audience
with young kids,
matters.
if you have the releases, if you can share information like that, like, it's what's really going to connect with the viewer. I think that's what it kind of comes down. Understanding your audience, understanding your viewer. And by the way, so like what you can do is kind of simple, like, listen, ChatGPT, now you know who I am, you know who we are, what we do. This is this specific audience, right? Like, it might be a group of corporate executives, very different group than a group of stay-at-home moms, very different group than a group of retirees, very different group than a group of students. But you can actually customize the final version of whatever your case for impact, case for support is, to actually be fine-tuned to the audience, so you have a much higher probability of actually connecting at an emotional level with the viewer, and thus kind of beginning to plant those seeds and those roots of connection between them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we did have a question about, will there be a gift for those who have attended? Yes, the gift is you can get access to this recording. And I'm also going to send you that outline I was showing you, because I think that's a helpful guide. And I have another sample of a suggested layout, like what is the best sequence to put this in. So yes, you absolutely will get access to all of that. 100%.
Are we not a gift enough? That's what I would say. Are we not like...
You're our gift, Danny. What other questions do we have? What other questions do we have?
I know you I know you mentioned that we'll have access to the recording. Will you also be attaching a few templates or example of the case support?
Yes. Yes, I can absolutely do that. Right now, I have them all in a Google Drive, which we've actually provided to our webinar attendees in the past, but we're moving away from storing things in Google Drive, being a little more sophisticated, having it on our website. So yes, Lynn, that's a great point. We will get all of those in PDF form and have those. And by the way, we do have permission from the creators of those documents to share them. Obviously, it's promotion for them, right? So they're happy for us to share those. So yes, we'll have those as PDFs that you can see within. Now, in order to access the recording, we've moved everything to the Kannico website. It's a free subscription. We're not holding you to anything. We want everyone to have access to this. Yes, we will send you marketing emails about our webinars, but other than that, what we really want is for you to be able to go someplace, see all of the recordings that we've done now since February of 2023. We do talk about major gifts and grants and board development, how to get your board to fundraise and how to get your board to behave, and then things like Case for Support, Lunch and Learn today. So you just need to set up a free subscription on our website. It's kannico.com/courses. And when you go in, it's as though you're in a course and you'll see the relevant materials for that particular webinar will be there as resources.
The other thing that came to mind, Kirsten, as we kind of went through this, is using this information to also help complete some of the other outside websites that offer credibility, like the Guide Stars, the Candidates, the Charity Navigator. So if you want to touch on that, I know some of your clients have been using that for that as well.
Yes. So yeah, it's funny because when we look at guides, this is what always happens. You look at GuideStar for the first time, you claim the profile, and then you look at what you have to complete. You think, oh my goodness, really? Okay, so this is going to be all my whole Saturday now is going to be devoted to completing my GuideStar profile, which by the way, if you sit down and do it in one sitting, for anyone who hasn't tackled this or hasn't looked at it for a while, if you do it in one sitting, you can make it all the way to silver, to gold. You may even make it to platinum. I don't know, depending on what you can get your hands on. But that GuideStar profile, I cannot stress enough the importance of completing that. But if you have a case for support, it's fantastic. You can just grab the information from that. So here's what I did. Danny's giving away all my secrets. I was helping someone complete their GuideStar profile, and I took the case for support and I uploaded it. And then I went in question by question in GuideStar and section by section. And I asked ChatGPT, based on what I've uploaded, and I think I uploaded some stewardship reports and an annual report, case for support. And I said, can you please provide the answer too? And I just put in the question for GuideStar and it gave me the answer. And that's what I put into GuideStar. So, I mean, there are multiple ways you can make your life easy by having this guiding document and then just being able to repurpose it in so many ways. That GuideStar profile is critical, 100%. The other thing is the consistency across the board of information, right? If you update your case for support and you're pretty faithful about doing that once a year, now you have one place that you can go back and you can just say, hey, team member or volunteer, could you pop into GuideStar and just make sure that the information is accurate? Here's the case for support, and everything is updated in this case for support. Your proposals based on the information in your case for support, your blogs, your social media, metrics that you're posting, you're sharing about, your infographics that you're creating. I mean, you kind of can go back to this one thing that you've been faithfully updating every year, and you've got accurate information that's consistent across the board. Let's look
There's
at
a great comment and question, that Susan just came up with.
This is clearing things up. I'm so glad, Susan. This is clearing things up for me. The example of pages for each project is a great idea rather than run on text. Yeah, I completely agree. I like the way Child Rescue Coalition did that. Let's see, Paula, I'm getting ready to revamp our website. So this is so timely. Oh, good. Fantastic. Case for support really is your main living, evolving document that you can always draw on. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And yes.
But I would say in addition to that, it's really the summary or the end result of you actually trying to collect all these documents in one kind of place, right? And understand what comes out of it, right? So the case for support becomes like the summary of everything that is out there that lives in some kind of document form about your organization, and which could be challenging to put together, by the way, to get everything kind of organized. But that's kind of how I see the case for support.
I agree with you, Danny, and I've even used former appeal letters. I've used acknowledgement letters. I've used anything that I have created that has to do with the organization, because you just never know when there's a nugget in there that might get extracted and could be part of your case for support. Now, it may not, and it may not be relevant, but to me, it makes sense to let's put everything in there and then extract from that what we need, right? So the content looks similar to a grant proposal with the same questions. It does look similar to a grant proposal. You're absolutely right. Now, the good thing about this is that you don't necessarily have an end goal when you create your main document. You're being you and your organization, and you're putting it out there. Sometimes when we think of a grant proposal, we're kind of framing it in a way that we feel is going to be a better fit or align with that particular organization. But yes, let's see, it makes it more fun and interesting for the public. Yes, that's exactly right. Exactly. That's exactly what I was just saying, Della. It makes it more interesting, more appealing, eye-catching. We've got the bold, we've got an infographic, we've got some images. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to be sensitive. I know people are going to be having to hop off in a minute.
Kirsten, I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Suzanne.
It sounds like this is really something that needs to, you might have already said this, updated every year if we're going to be including our financials in there. Or
Yes.
can you do one that's good for 2 or 3 years and have your financials separate if there's not a lot of change? But it sounds to me like it's a yearly document, right? Because of impact numbers and finance.
I suggest updating it yearly. You've got metrics that change. You've got your impact, volunteer hours. You're building every year, right? You have one more year under your belt. So to me, it would make sense to update it every year.
And I'd say as needed, because some mentoring organizations like
needed.
Scholar might be kind of aligned to the school year, right? So at the end of the school year, you might want to kind of update and say, these are the graduates. This is what we kind of accomplished. And then December, January comes and you update it as well there. So to the point of it being a living document, really, it's as needed.
That's right.
So it could take the place of your annual report.
I think it could become the foundation
embellished
for an
annual report. I'm
It
sorry?
could become like the foundation of where you get a lot of the information, because the annual report is you might not put as much as the history and the past of it in the annual report, right? Like the founding aspect of it or things like that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, Della's asking the same thing. Yeah, I would say that the annual report is more a snapshot of a year in the life of our organization, with maybe you feed in a little bit of the elements of your case for support.
Yeah.
Whereas the case report is the full picture of who you are at a given time.
Right.
Okay.
Like in an annual report, you might highlight specific sponsors or key donors, where in the case for support, you may not, right? So it just kind of depends on what you want to, again, it depends on the viewer, it depends on the audience, on how you want to fine tune it for that.
Okay.
Exactly. I know that it's taken us a few days in the past to get our recording uploaded. I promise that you will have it done. It'll be done within 24 hours, because I see Della, was it Della? No, Vicky says she's going to be working on this over the Memorial Day weekend. So I promise by end of day tomorrow, the recording will be up on our website and the resources will be in there as well.
I did want to add something cool, because I saw Nubia on, and I know Nubia does a lot of work in Spanish in Miami with the international community. And so this is one thing that once you have it done the right way in English or whatever language, just ask ChatGPT to translate it, and you have an entirely different living document in Spanish, which, by the way, can be customized for different dialects, different countries, different donors from different countries, anything like that. And so that's why I'm saying, like, once you have something main built, like, sky's the limit to how you want to kind of customize this.
Absolutely. I had a presentation I had to give yesterday to a client in Colombia, and I know they all speak English, but it also helps them to have it in Spanish. And I uploaded it to ChatGPT, and then I proofed it, and it was perfect. I mean, it was a 4-page, very in-depth grant research document, and it was impeccable. So yeah, that's a great point, Danny. Great point. Any other questions before we wrap up? Well, I speak Spanish, Lakeisha. So that's how I proved it. but I just didn't trust. It was the first time. Lakeisha, are you on still? I'm trying to see where you are. Because I can see that she's in the chat. Yeah, I speak Spanish, so I was able to check it. But I had heard from Danny, oh, you should, trust and just get it translated. I don't know, something in me was like, okay, this is your first client document uploading to ChatGPT that's going to be translated into Spanish. Do you really know if it's going to be okay? And I tell you, I actually learned a few words. So it was perfect. So I do trust.
Oh, that's good to know. Because I never trust those translations.
See?
No.
Oh no, chat's pretty. I trust chat. Yeah. My
Well,
team will
I've never
tell you,
tried.
we wake up and go to sleep. Yeah, like in chat, we trust, and some of the stuff that we do. And granted, we play around with it a lot and we fine tune it a lot, right? So
Okay, I'm gonna have to try ChatGPT. I haven't tried it yet. But
See,
like,
I'm not the only one. I'm glad I'm not the only mistrustful.
I will do the same thing, Krista. I'll go back and reread in Spanish and fix it.
Listen, here's a call to action that I'd love to kind of put out there is we learn a lot from your feedback, like a lot. Because I'll take all this feedback and guess what I'll do? I'll put it in ChatGPT and say, what do we have to focus on for next classes, next curriculums, next everything? And so please email Kirsten, please give us feedback. Please tell us, guess what? This was really cool. I started this, but I have zero clue where to start. I have zero idea where to ask it. What documents do I need? Just tell us. And then, eventually I'll help Kirsten out and we'll build some kind of like training or tool or service or platform or whatever we'll do. But the more information you give us, I don't analyze it. My team and my technology analyzes it. But it's all about really understanding the heartbeat of the pulse of what's happening out there, what nonprofits are struggling with, what opportunities you have, what imaginations you have, what obstacles you have, and then just give us a shot to figure it out how we can do something with it.
Yes. Oh, so thank you, Denny. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. So Della says she got the invite to the webinar, the blue in an email. She was 5 minutes late. Yes. So Della, we are part of a couple of different entities. The Kannico Agency is a firm that provides nonprofit support. We do a lot of strategic planning, board development, a lot of trainings, but we also do 501c3 formations. We are partnered with Calabria, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses heavily on providing tools, resources, trainings, education to the nonprofit sector, to the social impact sector, educating philanthropists, funders, social impact leaders to work better together, to collaborate together. So hence the name Calabria. It's also an entity that provides fiscal sponsorship. So I volunteer. This is the corporate social responsibility project of the Kannico Agency, which is my firm. I bring experts like Danny and others together, and we provide these kinds of trainings. We do them once a month for free, and then we do pop-up lunch and learns like today. And we just say, you know what? We're getting a lot of people asking about Case for Support. They're struggling. I had to turn some people down because I don't do them anymore. They're too labor intensive. I don't have the time to do it. And I don't have any writers right now that I trust. And so I've noticed that we've got some people kind of running into some challenges. And I said, Danny, there's got to be a way that we can help people overcome this. How can we use some AI tools? How can we make this better for people? How can we make them more effective and spend less time and less money? So thanks for asking, Della. Yes, the Kannico Agency.
I have a question. I noticed usually you host this type of virtual event in the evening around 6 p.m. But today was the first time I think I noticed it was like midday. So should we be expecting a mixture of both?
Yes.
I love the turnout. This is a great turnout, Kirsten. I was like, let's do these every week. Let's go, whatever it takes.
6 is hard.
It's during work hours.
I know 6 is good for some people, but it's hard for others. So I think we mix it up. It up.
Yep.
And the other thing is, give us your topics, right? Give us your topics because we feed off what you tell us you need. So if you're struggling with something in particular this year, let us know. The reason we did the last webinar 2 weeks ago on planning your fundraising campaigns throughout the year was because Lulis from Imagina Children's Foundation said, I have no idea how to map out my campaigns throughout the year. How do I know what are the good months to have a golf tournament or the bad months to have my gala? And then when do I start my end of year appeals and my donor solicitations? Do I start those in October? Somebody told me October. I thought it was December. What do I do with Giving Tuesday? The whole reason we did that webinar is because one person said, I don't understand how to do this. Let's do a webinar. So there you go. That's why. That's my example. Give us your topics, give us your stumbling blocks, and we'll try and help you get some clarity.
I have a big
by all means. Sorry, Suzanne, go ahead.
I have a big stumbling block right now. I'll email it to you all, but as you know, or some of you might know, I'm with El Sol in Jupiter, and the building is owned by the town. And we're in process of getting a lease renewal. And one of the things we have to do is an impact report, but we're trying to figure out how to calculate the value of monetary value of our services, but not just in terms of our labor program, we pay so-and-so to run our labor hall. So that has a certain cost to it, right? What is the value in money? How do you calculate that social value of no longer having a labor market on the streets of Jupiter? So for example, we no longer, there's less maybe police that need to be, cruising up and down Center Street. And there's some material out there, but I'm struggling with, how do you put a value on, okay, now there's a place where employers can come and get, day laborers to help them finish that project. So how to calculate this number that's not just the addition of our expenses. Like I can say, our budget is such a year, and that's the value, but the value is really more. And I don't even know if I can explain what it is I'm trying to.
Absolutely.
No, I think it's like, I got it.
This is an awesome AI project, is it not, Danny?
Yeah. We saw the hamster in my head that was just like spinning around, like, ooh,
He's excited.
Really good stuff trying to identify this. Yeah.
So AI,
there's an intangible number there, right, Suzanne? There's like a goodwill, like an intangible number, right? And a lot of that might be, yeah, and a lot of that's conversations and kind of interviews with elected officials, with the police captain, with people that kind of deal on the healthcare side of things, and whatever, local commerce, businesses, there's a way of kind of doing surveys, doing things like that. It's really a pulse of like the community feel of what that might have looked like before El Sol came along and after you kind of solve those problems. And then kind of, it's funny because I would say it's priceless, right? Now, how do we identify and give that a number? But I would start with that, right? Like, listen, it's really hard because everyone's just so happy with what we've done. But let's try to put a number on that. And let's ask the community what they think it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Della was saying this, so the social return on investment.
Exactly.
Yep. That is exactly what it is. Yep. Oh, so Della, are you offering the 4 returns for, oh, that's nice. So she put a link to their website.
Oh, thank you.
In the chat.
The first link is wrong. The second link is what I wanted to show you.
Yes.
4 returns framework. So you can get those non-monetary impacts and frame it in a way to report impact that goes beyond economic.
Now this
I love that. Thank you.
Your case for support too, right? Looking at something.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
I love this, and I love the fact that we're sharing as collaborators. That's exactly what the goal of this is. So very cool, Della. Thank you so much.
I'm going to
Thank you, Della. Thank you all. I have to jump off, but
thanks, Suzanne. Thank you. Sarah, are you asking if we do a survey to see what everyone's satisfaction with the is? Well, great idea. Yes, we will now. We absolutely should. Okay, we'll work on that. I don't know that we'll have it ready by tomorrow because I'm really going to focus on getting the recording up and the resources, but no, that's a really great point. We should do that. Yes, Della, we have to get those metrics. Oh, we're a nonprofit too. Yes, of course. We have to get those metrics. Thank you. See? Sometimes we don't even think about those things.
Look, you can do Insta evaluation right now and show of hands if you got something out of this. I have done that in a pinch, for 100% yes.
Really?
There's
Okay.
Zoom surveys. Yeah, you can put a survey on Zoom really quick. Just
Okay.
show of hands on the chat. You can put in the chat like a high five, an applause, or something on it. That'll help us.
Well, I think oh, there's a poll or a quiz.
I got a heart. Someone gave us a heart. Lakeisha
Oh,
gave us a
heart's
heart.
good. Yes. How about
I
you
love hearts. I got a thumbs up. I got a heart.
do a heart or a thumbs up if you got anything out of this? How about that? If you
Ooh,
felt it was
I got to
useful.
celebrate from Della.
1, 2, 3. All right.
There we go.
4. Thanks, Paula.
All right, I'm still out here trying to do this, but I'm gonna give you a thumbs up.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then I think, oh, thanks, Julian. Thanks, Jimmy. And then I think survey wise, actually, that's a great idea for topics as well. Thanks, Mark. Great idea for future topics. So you know what? We do need to do that. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, that's a really good point. See, this is right. I come in, I'm like, I'm all about the case for support, but sometimes you need other people to remind you. Thank you so much. Della, that was a great idea. Thank you. Well, you guys were fantastic. I'll put my email address back in the chat. Feel free to email me directly. And we loved having you. Thank you so much. This was fun. We'll do another one probably next week sometime. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Rest of the day.